Bobby Bare once stood at the top of the Billboard charts, selling millions of records and hailed as one of the greatest narrative voices in country music. He was a man whose music captured the sorrow and struggles of an entire generation. But the price for that success was incredibly high. Behind the fame, Bobby's personal life was falling apart. From a childhood spent in poverty to seeing his songs taken by others, Bobby's journey through music became one of loss, frustration, and heartache. His family drifted apart, and despite all the success, his personal wounds ran deep. As Nashville's music scene evolved, Bobby found himself left behind, a forgotten artist in a city that once adored him. His story begs the question, is this the price of honesty in a world that favors images over truth? A tough start in Iron, Ohio. Born in 1935 in Iron, Ohio, Bobby Bare's early life was anything but gentle. The Great Depression was tightening its grip on America, and Bobby's family struggled to survive. Cold bread with lard and nights spent wrapped in potato sacks were the harsh realities of his childhood. By the time Bobby was 5, his mother had died. Not from illness, but from the relentless exhaustion of caring for her family during such dark times. Her death left Bobby with a gaping void. He could barely remember her face, but the emptiness of her absence haunted him. With his father unable to care for the children, Bobby was sent away, separated from his siblings, and forced to grow up in loneliness. From that moment, Bobby learned one painful lesson: never expect anyone to stay. The early struggles of a young dreamer. By the time he was a teenager, Bobby was already working in the fields, doing hard labor to earn a few coins. His small hands became calloused, his thin back bent with the weight of life's hardships. The world had not given him much hope. Dreams felt like a luxury he could not afford. Yet, amidst this struggle, Bobby found a lifeline: music. He discovered an old radio and began listening to the country legends of the time: Hank Williams, Red Foley, and others who sang of sorrow, loss, and survival. For Bobby, music was more than entertainment. It was a refuge, a way to make sense of a life that often didn't. He taught himself to play guitar, and every strum became a prayer for something better. Love lost and the birth of songwriting. At 18, Bobby met Linda, a girl with a smile that could make him forget his troubled past. For the first time, he felt loved and cherished. They dreamt of a life together. Bobby becoming a famous singer, Linda by his side. But fate intervened in the most tragic way. Linda was killed in a car accident, leaving Bobby once again staring into the abyss of loss. At her funeral, Bobby didn't cry out loud. Instead, he held his guitar and began to play. The song that came from him was not one of sweet love, but one of pain, about life's cruelty and how it always takes away the things you love. This song marked the beginning of Bobby's songwriting career, where his sorrow became the foundation for his music. A string of heartbreaks in Nashville. Bobby's journey to Nashville was fraught with rejection. Despite his undeniable talent, the city's music scene didn't embrace him. Nashville in the 1950s was a place where you had to fit a certain mold, be marketable, be part of the system. Bobby was too raw, too honest, and too full of pain to fit the polished image they wanted. Every door he knocked on was slammed shut. He was told he had a great voice but wasn't what the industry needed. The rejection cut deeply. But Bobby's resilience kept him going. He didn't know how to quit. Music was the only thing he had left. He lived out of his car, hungry and cold, still chasing the dream that was slipping further away. A call to serve, and a moment of resignation. In the aftermath of his betrayal, Bobby enlisted in the military, leaving behind his guitar and his dreams of Nashville. The years spent in the barracks didn't heal the wound. They only put a pause on the pain. As he served his country, Bobby listened to the all-American boy played by his fellow soldiers. They had no idea that the man sitting beside them was the true artist behind the song. Bobby didn't correct them. He kept his silence, living in the shadows of his own music. He returned to Nashville in the early 1960s, where his voice was recognized, but the city still ignored him. The industry had no place for someone like Bobby, someone too honest to fit into the mold they had created. The turning point with RCA. Bobby's breakthrough came in 1962 when he signed with RCA Records. This was the moment when things began to change, but it wasn't a sudden success. The first song he released under RCA, Shame on Me, was well received, but it was only the beginning. In 1963, Bobby released Detroit City, a song that told the story of a man working in a factory, dreaming of home, too proud to admit failure, and too lonely to go on. The song became a massive hit and won a Grammy for Best Country and Western Recording in 1964. Finally, Bobby Bare had the recognition he deserved, but even in that moment of triumph, there was an emptiness. The golden statue sat on his table in a Los Angeles hotel room, but Bobby was alone, holding the phone and realizing there was no one to share the moment with. His victory was overshadowed by loneliness. The loneliness of success. Bobby's Grammy win should have been the pinnacle of his career, but instead, it felt like the culmination of a lifetime of loss. As he sat alone in his hotel room, holding the trophy that symbolized all the hard work and pain he'd endured, he broke down. All the success in the world couldn't fill the emptiness he felt inside. He had reached the top of his profession, but the price was a life of isolation, marked by personal loss and unfulfilled dreams. Despite the accolades and the applause, Bobby Bare was still the young boy from Ohio who had lost everything: his family, his love, and his chance at happiness. His music had become his only companion, but even it couldn't heal the wounds of his past. The bitter truth of Nashville's betrayal. Bobby's story is one of great achievements overshadowed by profound personal pain. His life was a series of struggles, not just against poverty, but against an industry that took his creations and gave credit to others. His honesty, his raw, emotional voice, and his refusal to compromise were the very things that made his music special, but they were also the reasons he never found peace. Nashville, a place built on selling dreams, could never offer Bobby the support or recognition he deserved. His music became his testimony, each song a piece of his soul, a reflection of the hardships he had endured. But even in his success, Bobby Bare was never truly free from the loneliness and betrayal that had defined his life.